I'm just letting you know that this is the final iCarly episode I'm going to be reviewing for this year. I'm pulling that out because next month is Halloween, which I've already reviewed the 2 Halloween episodes from iCarly. November is something that live action shows are not going to be reviewed because you'll probably find out. And in December, I've already reviewed the Christmas episode from iCarly in 2017, so yeah, this is gonna be the final episode. Yeah, it's really upsetting from you, but at the same time, I need to actually focus on other material and the projects that I'm gonna be doing in the final 3 months of this year. So anyway, this episode is called I Won't Cancel the Show. Carly is really excited because her father, who is from Iraq or in the military, is going to watch iCarly from his satellite. And this is going to be really important so that Carly can actually make the show really perfect for her father. But as it turns out, her best friend Sam got arrested all because she completely did something terrible involving an ambassador from Mexico by putting a hot dog or something. It's a food inside his pants, which means that she won't be released from prison until tomorrow. And considering that you heard what the title of this episode is going to be about, you can really tell that Carly is going to put all the stops out of her way in order to have the web show be perfect so her father can actually see it from beginning to end. Now, Carly wants her brother Spencer to fill in on Sam's role of the webcasts, but at the same time, Spencer has someone coming over and her name is Candace, which is basically the next Spencer plot device involving him getting in love with someone else, which is something that the show has been doing for so many times, but it's basically a gag that Spencer is just trying to find the girl that he's really interested in. But at the same time, she's really sophisticated, which means that she doesn't want to see anything of what he does outside of her life. That really goes to show that Spencer is just really desperate to just trying to get a girlfriend, but I'll go get to most of that later. And through the majority of this episode, Spencer just keeps going back upstairs to fill in on the web show, while also coming back downstairs in order to keep Candace occupied. And that's really what this entire episode is. It's just basically an episode where Carly, along with Gibby and Freddie, just trying to do the webcast without Sam, while also getting some assistance from her brother, until her brother decides to go back downstairs to fill in on Candace. Believe me when I say this, is that this episode is really perfect for so many reasons that no other episode in the future can easily top. For one thing, when it comes to Kansas in this episode, it's mostly a subplot, but at the same time, considering that Spencer is really needed on doing some of the stuff for Carly for a web show, this is actually kind of being part of the main plot, since that Spencer has to go upstairs and downstairs for every 10 or 15 minutes. And believe me when I say this, I really can feel the stress that Spencer is dealing with, but at the same time, it's also genius writing. It's really obvious that Spencer just wants to get a girlfriend, like in some of the episodes involving his interactions with other female characters. But in this episode, despite this being mostly for comedic purposes, I still think that this is pretty much a great way to actually have this plot being full attention to the other plot involving the web show. Believe me, this episode's time length really works, and the fact that Sam isn't in this episode, it can really go to show that they can handle this episode without one of the main characters. Speaking of Sam, if she was in this episode, I can really understand that the Spencer and Kansas subplot will actually be a subplot. But considering that Spencer is really required on helping Carly for the web show, that subplot just turned into one of the major plot points for this episode. Believe me when I say this, I honestly think that the idea of having Sam being absent from one episode really works. Granted, I don't hate her, but at the same time, if they're going to actually have a character who is a main character out of one episode and actually try to make the episode a lot more entertaining without her, that really makes this episode redeemable without having the main characters. Besides, I think that the plot of I Won't Cancel the Show if Sam was in this episode would have changed, which will probably make the episode a lot more weaker episode than this. As for the comedy in this episode, I actually kind of enjoy it. Not all of them, it's always subjective, but at the same time, I completely enjoyed what they're trying to do. Considering that this is Carly just trying to have her father be proud of her, she really needs to do everything she can in order to make this web show really memorable. Especially the bits, well, the pathetic plays and also the idiot farm girl. And believe me when I say this, is that the jokes here really work, and it's really depressing that after this season, we're not going to get multiple episodes from this show again. And only relying with 11 episodes from season 4 and 5, while people can debate that season 6 is sliced in half of season 7, but I'm mostly on a board with that. My point is that I actually think that they probably did so well with the comedy in this that it's honestly sad that after this, the characters just get more fleshed out, but really with more derailments of being funny and also really difficult to actually root for. And I am talking about how they act in the later seasons. And if I'm ever going to review a future episode involving iCarly from season 5 or 4, my opinions will probably be what you actually expect. People just cannot see the reasons of the show continuing on anymore, and by the time the finale came, it was good, but it makes the episodes before that a lot more unnecessary. Getting back to Spencer with his relationship with Kansas, I honestly think that, considering that he's just trying to be normal, I honestly think that he's always doing this no matter what. I mean, remember the plot in the I Make Sam Goyo, well, the subplot involves him wearing a tux, which actually impressed another woman. That's actually, this plot is basically the same thing, except that it's not about tuxes. It's just trying to actually impress a woman who is really not into the stuff that Carly's in, especially the hobbies that Spencer's in. And with everything that Spencer has to go through in this episode, I mostly feel his stress. Granted, it's for comedy, but just going back and forth on doing the web show while also keeping Kansas occupied is obviously a difficult task. But then again, Carly's father is also his father, so it really actually kind of makes sense onto why he's just trying to do the right thing for himself, but also for Carly. And if you actually believe me, the love interests involving Spencer in this are mostly okay. They're not bad or good, they're just mostly okay. Since that they're just basically the same thing that Spencer has to do and work with almost every single time. And as for Kansas in this, she is just basically what I mentioned. She's okay. When she head upstairs to see what was going on, I can understand her reaction. And considering that she completely left Spencer because of what was going on and the fact that Spencer spitted food on her nose, I can understand her motivations. And at the same time, I honestly think that everything I've seen from this episode is just basically what Kansas is just dealing with. She wants normal in her life, but then when she sees all this, she is surrounded by freaks. And to be quite honest, I have no comment when she completely said that Carly and her friends are freaks. And when she's really this sophisticated, I really don't blame her. Usually I would go against these characters, but Kansas isn't really that mean whatsoever. She's just nice, just wants to have normal in her life. And everything I've seen from this and how Spencer just keeps going back and forth, I would probably feel the same way if I was Kansas in this episode. So anyway, this episode was really, really good. One of the better iCarly episodes I've seen from the earlier seasons. And it's really a shame that after this, a lot has changed. Granted, there was a few episodes involving Season 3 involving Night Psycho, but still. I really think that he probably did a good job, and with the absence of Sam, who people think that he was sick or telling the truth, if I actually think that what was happening by the time they make this episode, they really did a good job on trying to make this episode's title work, especially that Carly succeeds at the very end of the episode. As for Spencer, well, he didn't get the goal, but at the same time, just like every other goal that he came across in the show. And the comedy in this, especially when Gibby has to brush his teeth with mustard, I can feel his pain, but the comedy here is just one of the best I've ever seen, especially from Gibby. So that's really all I have to say about this episode. I really enjoy it. For an episode called I Won't Cancel the Show, we'll probably deal with the same thing if we were Carly's shoes, especially in front of a camera, in front of so many thousands or millions of people watching. Believe me when I say this, is that wherever you completely hear people despising iCarly because the fact that it's goofy and stuff like that, then they probably did not see this episode, or the other episodes that they just decide to skip on because they were not interested. Granted, not everyone needs to love this show, but I'm just trying to understand, I'm just trying to let you guys know that the hate of being iCarly may be a little bit too much. But at least at the same time, this was one of the last Dan Snyder shows until Snyder's Bakery just went, well, you know. Anyway, I give this episode an 8.5 out of 10.